Hello and welcome back to episode 4 of my Pokemon Emerald Let's Play and Catch Everything playthrough. Today we're going to be going through Rustboro City, taking on the gym, and hopefully finishing up a couple of the routes after Rustboro, and possibly catching some Pokemon. I'll have to see how much time I have left, but we should be able to get through all of that today, so let's dive right in. So Rustboro City is the first real, the second real city of this game, insofar as it has the second gym, but we've not been able to beat the first gym because that belonged to our dad. It also houses the Devon Corporation, which features quite heavily in this game, and this building is just full, this building's full of Devon workers, basically. But you can get a couple of items in here. So there's, I think this little boy gives you a Premier Ball, which is just a free Pokeball effectively. And this guy says that Devon used to be a small company and is now a big company. Useful. I don't think there's any more in here, but might as well explore the last floor. Devon's president likes to collect rare stones, and so does the sun, so now we know. Rare stones feature in the plot of this game with the blue orb and the red orb a bit later on, but at least for now I think we can move on after that. And then if we come over here, these two just talk about evolution, so Pokemon changing shape. They're referring to Pokemon evolving. So let's just see that. And this guy names his Pikachu Pekachu, so yeah, he's a bit of a lost cause. In the mart here, well, let's just speak to this guy first. In the mart here, I believe this might be the first place we can get Super Potions. Super Potions heal 50 health rather than just 20. Yeah, so that guy's talking about Super Potions. So kind of now that we've got a Combusken, a level 17 Combusken, it's got more than 20 health, so it might be worth picking up some Super Potions. I think I already have a couple, and I don't have any money anyway, because I spent it all on Pokeballs. I do not know how many Pokeballs I have left, but let's just check, because we may need to do some catching. Oh, we've got enough for now. So now there's a couple more things in the town here. Quite a nice little fountain, and the Pokemon Trainer School, which is here. So we'll have a look at that in a second. You have a 2-on-2 battle. And this is a new mechanic in Emerald, so in Ruby and Sapphire you can only have double battles with where there are 2 opponents. But in this game you can have 2 individual trainers that you can choose to fight individually or as a duo, and there's 2 of those in the gym as well. That's just talking about Roxanne, and then if we come over here and talk to... It's not going to be easy winning... Yeah, so that's hinting that your Torchic may not be strong enough. So where were we up to? Yeah, let's head into the trainer school, and then we will head into the Pokemon Center as well. I believe I need to heal up. And in here, the first thing we're going to see is this guy who is basically a 40-year-old man who wears sunglasses all the time and is sat in the corner of a classroom. No comment on that front. But he tells us to find Cut, so we do need to find the HM for Cut. I can't remember if I actually... And that there is a Cut Master in this city, and he will give you that HM. So here we're being given the Quick Claw. Quick Claw is an item that has a 10% chance of allowing a Pokemon to move first. So where is it? We'll give that to Ralts, I think, because Ralts is a bit slow and not very good. Yeah, so it has a 10% chance of moving first, even if it's not, even if it's slower than the other Pokemon. So it's kind of situationally useful for very slow Pokemon if you've got like an Aggron or something, but generally not that useful because of how unlikely it is to activate. That guy's finally getting a Seedot, and he's trading, and I think that's everything in there now. So we did get the Quick Claw. Now, I need to try and remember where the Cutmaster's house is. I thought it was just up here. Yeah, I think this is it. So this guy gives you the HM per cut, which we don't... Do we need it at any point in the game? I can't remember, but it's useful to have anyway, and it's going to allow us to access a few areas on one of the routes that we haven't been to yet, and also access some extra items and stuff on Route 104, which we've already been through, and the Petalbow Woods as well. But we can't use that HM until after we've defeated Roxanne, so that's going to be our next order of business once I've healed up in the Pokemon Center. There is also a big building which is the Devon Corporation building, and I'm not going to take that on. Well, I'm not going to go in there until after we've completed a bit more of the story, because there's some story in there and I don't want to have to go through it twice. But I believe there is a trade for Seedot in that building, or certainly around Rustbro somewhere. And it's a routes for Seedot trade, so routes is 4%, Seedot's 1%. So if you do have a routes and you don't have a Seedot, and that's a pretty good way of getting one. Is there anything in here? Let's just take a look quickly. There is an upstairs. Every Pokemon has a special ability to use. Yeah, so abilities and natures are two quite big things in this game that weren't in previous games. And we get this girl who is surrounded by Pokemon dolls, I think. Welcome to the Pepper household. I have a question for you. Have you ever babysat? I don't actually know what this does. So let's just say hello. I guess that's not what I meant to say. And now I'm. There we go. So let's see if she finds hello funny. Maybe Walder is one serious child. Yeah, I'm not actually sure what that does, if you can get any cool items or not from that. I should probably look it up, but it's not. I don't think you can get anything too amazing. Otherwise, I'm sure I'd know about it. So this is the Pokemon gym that I was referring to, and this is the Rustbro building, which is quite impressive. But sadly, we're not going to be going in there just yet. So we've got one final house before we take on the gym, and then we can see how we fare against Roxanne. Yeah, so this is the trade, Seedot for routes, which is a good trade because routes is 4%, as I mentioned, but yeah, not what I'm going to be doing because I found like 3 Seedots when I was doing my hunt for a trace routes. So yeah, believe, yeah, we do have routes in the front of our party. So this is what our party is looking like at the moment. Tailo and, well, Tailo I'm going to use for fly probably. Maril, who knows, but I'm just keeping them in there for now. Zigzagoon level 15, probably not going to be much use against rock type gym. Routes level 10 and Combuskin level 17. Combuskin can basically solo this gym by itself, but I do want the experience for routes as well. Let's come around here. I'm going to fight all the gym trainers. You can avoid them all in this gym. Some later gyms, they're not optional, but in this one they are. But gym trainers give good experience. So trace Rockhead, which means Rockhead gives no recoil from recoil-based moves. Unfortunately, that's not a 2-hit KO, so he may use a potion, or this may be a range. No, definitely not a range. He does miss tackle, which is nice, because it means I don't need to go and heal. And we grow to level 11. That was quite a lot of XP. And we get double team. Double team's quite useful, quite an interesting move, I guess. Most of the time I wouldn't bother setting up a double team, but maybe for something like Norman's Gym, where I don't actually want to do this. So this is an example of a battle you can do as either a double battle or 2 singles. And because I don't want to split the XP away from Ralts if possible. I just want to give Ralts as much XP as possible. I'm just going to do them as single battles, but it is probably slightly faster to do it as a double battle. So again we trace Rockhead, and this time it is a two shot. I believe the Geodude in the first fight was level 10 and this one's only level 8, and we're a level higher, so it's quite a clean 2-hit kill. And another level 8, so it should again, and it goes down with a crit, which is very handy. This gym really does not have much variety to it. All of the gym trainers, all three of them just have Geodude. The first guy has 1 level 10, and these both have 2 level 8s. So not a huge amount to entertain you. They could have thrown Onyx or something in, but they decided not to. There is, however, a new Pokemon that we haven't seen yet on Roxanne, who can be pretty dangerous if you're not highly leveled enough. And there are some trainers and routes that you can access before taking on this gym, which if you're not a high level, it's probably worth doing. But I think because we've got Combusken at level 17, there's basically no chance of us losing this fight. And if we do, I will look very silly. So Ralts is slowly climbing up there. Once it gets to level 20, it evolves into Curlier, which is a decent Pokemon, but still not amazing. And then at level 30 is when Ralts actually becomes good, after being quite mediocre for quite a long time. And we get a useless crit there, and we can use that in the next fight, hopefully. I'm going to heal up Ralts because we're going from fighting level 8 to fighting level... so yeah, we do have 2 super potions. I'm just going to bring those up to the top of the bag. I like to keep my healing items right at the top. I won't sort all of this, but yeah, I like to have healing items and then status healing items immediately afterwards, and then probably PP or something along those lines. But anyway, let's use a potion. I generally don't use potions, and I would just run back to the Pokemon Center, but I figure, why not? They're never going to get used otherwise. Yeah, so now Roxanne, here we go. The first gym fight of the series. So these Geodudes know Tackle, Defense Curl, Rock Throw and Rock Tomb. She has 2 of them at level 12, and they don't have any held items. We do get a crit there, which is very nice. This Rock Throw is going to hurt though. Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to be able to 2-shot from there. No, we're not. Ralts is going to die if I stay in here. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, just switch out to Combusken. I was thinking about letting Tailo die, but I figure might as well just let Combusken tank it. That speed drop could be annoying, but probably not. And now we'll just win from here with Combusken. I think at level 17 it OHKOs both of the Geodudes and does enough damage to 2-hit KO Nosepass after the Oranberry. Nosepass is the new Pokemon that we haven't seen yet. Yeah, so it does more than enough damage. This is the reason I didn't want to go any higher with Combusken than we had to. Or than just evolving it really, because this is already trivialising what is actually quite a hard fight. A level 15 Nosepass is pretty brutal, or can be if you don't have good enough preparation. And I think we get a higher roll on that second so we are now -2 speed, so we've had our speed halved by both of those rock tombs. Andy gets an Oranberry, gets an Oranberry. So I don't actually know if we'll outspeed, and we don't, and now we can't switch, but let's just hope this KOs, and it looks like it will. And there we go. Yeah, so that is the first gym fight. That Nosepass has block, harden, tackle, and rock tomb. So it can, if it gets up some defense boosts and slows you down a lot, it can get fairly nasty fairly quickly, but thankfully we managed to get through it without too much trouble. And we get the stone badge and 1500 Pokédollars. Pokepounds, I guess, with that sign, I don't know. Yeah, so we get the stone badge, and this is going to use the HM cut outside of battle. And we also get TM39. So TM39 is Rock Tomb, yeah. Which lowers speed. It's not very good in this generation, I think it's 50 base power. It gets some use in later generations when it gets boosted to 60 base power and is given to some Pokemon with Technician. So Breloom uses it. And what Technician does is gives it 1.5 times power, so it's basically a 90 power, no drawback rock move with 100 accuracy and a speed drop. So what I'm going to do is teach Zigzagoon Cut. Zigzagoon's quite a useful HM slave for the early game. Definitely don't want to delete. I think we'll just get rid of tackle. Yeah, Cut's just a more powerful tackle effectively. We don't want to delete Headbutt because we're going to be using that later in the game for breeding, and we learn Cut. Yes, there we go. So now we get greeted by this cutscene. I've chosen the worst possible angle, but we get to see the Devon guy that we bumped into in Petersburg Woods is back. Okay, so I'm now all healed up, and we can begin to take on the routes ahead of Rustboro City. We're going to pursue up here and talk to this guy, a sneaky looking man. Yeah, he did see a shady guy. And then this guy from Devoncorp is here, and he's going to ask us to chase down the Team Aquagrunt and hopefully retrieve his Devon goods. But first we're going to come up here. There's not actually a huge amount up here yet, so this is Route 115. We can see that item and some trainers. There is one item that we can get hold of, but mostly this route is not accessible until later in the game. Either when you have surf and you can surf up, or more likely if you walk down from the, I believe it's Falaba Town, the place with the volcanic ash. Yeah, so we did get that one item, but not too much to see there yet. And this way there are some, this is Route 116, and there are some new Pokemon on Route 116 for us to take a look at. So firstly, at 28% there is Poochyena, at 20% Tailo, at 20% also Nincada, which is a new Pokemon for us to catch, 20% Whismur, which we also need to catch, 10% Abra, which is quite annoying to catch because it only has the move Teleport, so it teleports away, and it's also only a 10% encounter. And finally, 2% for Skitty. Skitty can also be found in a swarm at 15%, but that isn't something we're going to be using, so I will have to hunt through for a 2% Skitty. Skitty is a truly dreadful Pokemon, but it is also very rare, and I will have to find it, but not just yet. So there are some trains to take on this route, so we're going to do that first. And there's also some items, and the first time we're going to use Cut as well, so. And this guy's Machop should go down in one hit. Machop's not hugely specially... Oh! Routes is just really bad, I guess. I was about to say Machop's not hugely specially bulky, and it is a stab psychic, or a stab psychic type move, but alas, Ralph sucks. But it's good XP, and he didn't hit us, so all's fair, I guess. You can go kind of north or south of this bush here, and if you go south, there is a free item for you to get as well. Luckily Wurmple is also not very good, so despite Confusion not being hugely powerful, we are able to muscle past that one. And we're on to Nincada. Nincada is quite interesting Pokemon because it evolves into two different Pokemon. So it evolves into both Ninjask and Shedinja, but in a different way to how other Pokemon evolve into two different Pokemon. So for instance, Wurmple evolves into Cascoon and Silcoon, but it evolves into either Cascoon or Silcoon. Nincada evolves into both at the same time, which is quite an interesting mechanic. Shedinja is supposedly a husk, so basically a what's the word? Not a Cascoon. My brain's been broken by Pokemon. I can't remember the actual word for things. But the cocoon that bugs go into, I guess that's what Shedinja's meant to be, but it's somehow sentient. Only has 1 HP. It's very flimsy, but it also has the ability Wonder Guard, so it cannot take damage except from super effective attacks. And we get paralysed, which is not ideal, but not a huge issue as long as this absorb doesn't do too much damage, because it's going to be healing back all of the damage it does, and that's just going to make it quite annoying. In terms of when I'm going to evolve Pokemon that I've caught, just like Shroomish, I'm going to wait until I've got a good way to farm experience from trainers. There's also, I'm going to need to farm some money as well for TMs, and there's a good place to do both of those things quite a bit later on in the game, but that's fine. I'll also, because I'm going to be doing so much wild Pokemon hunting, in order to avoid becoming hugely overleveled, I probably will evolve some things here as well. And these two, I guess I can show off how double battles work in this game. This is a Whismur, which I could catch. I might catch. I kind of want to save my Pokeballs for for Abra. So here we see an advantage of Trace, where Whismur can't damage us with Uproar because we trace its ability Soundproof. And I did not expect that to kill, but I guess I have saved my Pokeballs. So this, if those two had both been looking at me when I'd walked through there, then it would have been a double battle. Instead, it's just two single battles. But we are going to keep getting this experience for routes because we need it. We need it to evolve so that it's no longer quite as bad as it is. Paralysis makes your speed down to a quarter of what it actually is. But because of our Quick Claw, which just activated, we do still get to go first sometimes. So let's hope we get it again, and we don't. So Shroomish is on 1 HP. I may run back and heal quickly, just if we win this fight. I will probably run back and heal at the Pokemon Center rather than using Paralyze heals and potions and wasting experience, but I'll do that off camera, so no need to worry too much about that. Should I just switch out? Yeah, I'm going to switch out to Zigzagoon, give Zigzagoon some XP. I'm not using Zigzagoon as a permanent team member, but it is actually fairly strong with Headbutt, stab, normal move that's 80 base power and can flinch, and also I need I need to evolve it at some point into Linoon or capture one in the wild, and it's probably easier for me to evolve it. So I don't mind Zigzagoon getting some XP. Okay, whilst on my way back to the Pokemon Center, this Abra has appeared, and the only way for us to capture an Abra at this point is just to throw Pokeballs at it. We will be able to throw one Pokeball and then it will teleport away. So it's a 10% encounter. It would be really ideal if it just got in the Pokeball. I believe it's something like a 33% chance to stay in, and it does. So that is amazing. That saves us a lot of potentially a lot of Pokeballs wasted on a Pokemon that we can't weaken. And whilst running back, we have bumped into another Whismur. We now know that Whismur cannot survive a confusion from routes. I'm going to keep Abra in the party for now because it has teleport, and that basically transports you back to your most recent Pokemon Center. So once we're done with a route, we can just teleport back to the Pokemon Center rather than having to walk all the way. So Alakazam was actually Alakazam is the final form of Abra, and it was a Pokemon I was really interested in using. Actually, I was planning on using it ahead of routes, but there were a couple of issues. Firstly, its move pool is pretty dreadful. So the only kind of good, obviously it gets Psychic, but then the only good move really that it learns other than that is Shockwave. It doesn't get access to Thunderbolt or Ice Beam or anything, whereas Routes does get Thunderbolt. So that's quite a big thing initially. There's also then the issue of but there are some moves that you can use with Alakazam, which are the Elemental Punches. So they are 75 base power. Later they are physical moves, but in this generation the punches are all those three punches, Fire, Ice and Thunder Punch, are all special moves, which means that Alakazam's massive, I think it's like 130 base special attack, really, having super effective coverage with those moves would be amazing. Unfortunately, they are egg moves, so they're quite difficult to get, and the only Pokemon the only Pokemon that can teach, that can learn those moves from level up and then breed them onto Alakazam is Medicham, and Medicham is not available in Pokemon Emerald as far as I'm aware. So that's kind of thrown off that plan. It's a bit of a shame because I always used to run Kadabra because you need to the other issue is that you need to trade Kadabra to get it to evolve into Alakazam, and unfortunately I do not have I could make an exception. I did say I want to do this all in one save file. I could make an exception and trade for the Alakazam, but A, it would feel a bit meh, and B, without the Elemental Punches, it's really not worth it. They do also learn. It does also learn that from level up, or not from level up. Sorry, from a move tutor, but those aren't available until basically the game is completely done. So there's not too much point in exploring that. So let's speak to this bald guy. And for some reason, the Team Aquagrunt decided to steal a Wingull. So we're going to take on, we haven't finished this route just yet, but we're going to take on this Aquagrunt in the Rust Turf Tunnel, and the tunnel project has been cancelled, which is relevant later on in the game. So we do get a Pokeball here, which is nice, and come and get Sun, and then he backs off. So clearly not the most confident of Team Aquagrunts, but let's show him that his confidence is correctly misplaced, I guess. That made no sense, but you know what I mean. Routes cannot do any damage to Poochyena at all. I probably should have switched out before starting this battle, but who cares. Combustion or Zigzagoon? Let's go Zigzagoon. It's quite fun using Zigzagoon as kind of temporary party member, I guess. eventually we're going to use Tentacle and Tropius as HM saves, because between the two of them they can learn all 8 HMs of this game. Zigzagoon, however, does learn a few, so it learns Cut, it learns Surf, and probably learns Strength as well, I guess. So it has, and maybe Rock Smash. So it can be a good HM save, but Tentacle and Tropius just have perfect synergy. So Mr. Briny is his cottage. We didn't actually go into on Route 104 when we were looking through it, because we're going to have to visit that later on anyway. And if we come this way, okay, this is going to be a Whismur. The Pokemon available in this route, or in this tunnel, by the way, are exclusively Whismur. So the reason the tunnel digging was cancelled was because of these Whismur making a loud noise and risking the collapse of the tunnel, I believe, is the law reason given. But this will later give us a shortcut through from Rustboro to Verdanturf. But as you can see at the moment, these two rocks stand in the way, and we do not have Rock Smash yet. So as you can see, now that we've cleared out that route, this guy is now stood a tile away from the door, so we can actually go into this house, and we are going to be able to cut down this tree and fight some more trainers up there. And he can go back to digging, so he couldn't dig. He's digging the tunnel by hand because the machinery that disturbed the Whismur mean it can't be done. So currently the only way to go from Rustboro to Verdanturf is to go to Dewford, sail onto Slateport, and then up to Mauville, and then across to Verdanturf, so it's quite a long way around. At first we had a huge work crew boring through rock with the latest machinery, but we had to stop. Turns out we would have had a negative effect on wild Pokemon in the area. So they're just sat around doing nothing, which, fair enough. If you can still collect a paycheck, why not? You won't disturb Pokemon and avoid harming. I wonder if he made it through. So that's why the guy's digging it by himself, by hand, to not disturb the Pokemon, which is very environmentalist of him. Your bag has several pockets. Unfortunately, in later generations, the bags are infinite capacity, and that just seems like a better thing. I guess there's a memory issue with older Pokemon games like this, that they can't store enough items, but still. At least in this game, key items are in a separate bag. In the first game, if you took a town map, that meant you lost an inventory space that you never got back. Right, so we're just going to Confusion and Double Kick, I guess. Both into the Zigzagoon, but that will just die in one hit. And then Ralph should attack the Lotad. And because I didn't realise they had 2 Pokemon, that's very annoying. Oh well. Lotad's only level 8, so it won't do too much damage. And I can now just Confusion the Lotad and Double Kick the Poochyena. Which should be a pretty easy double kill. There's quite a few Pokemon here, quite a few trainers here, sorry. And we will take on all of them. I believe there are 4 trainers here. And there are 2 Zigzagoons in this fight, both of which are holding nuggets. So again, if you wanted to farm money in this game in a very kind of niche way, that is one way you could do it, is to trick off the nuggets from these Zigzagoons or something. However, there are much faster ways, I think, and much less complicated ways of doing so. And Ember should be enough to take out the Zigzagoon. Yeah, so there we go. Hopefully Routes levels up. Does not. But we do get a good amount of money from that. So each trainer gives us 1600. Yeah, and that money is going to be useful if I need to buy additional Pokeballs to catch everything on this route. We could avoid to go around these trainers, or we could cut this and go around the trainers, but figure we might as well just take them on. So they have a Ralts and a Marill, which are both in our party, but ours are better than theirs, and everything is a competition. So let's just Ember the Ralts. It should probably die. Yeah, Ralts is honestly terrible. And I think Marill will probably tank this. Marill's not... Nope. Oh, that's a crit. I think Marill's not too bad for this stage of the game. So now we can finally get access to our prize for doing all this effort, which is some Pomeg berries and some Chesto berries. So Chesto berries wake you up from sleep, and Pomeg berries, I have no idea what they do. I should probably look. Oh, pineapple berries, sorry, not Pomeg. Yeah, I don't know what a pineapple berry does. It might just be a Pokeblock berry. But Chesto berries are quite interesting for Pokemon who use rest and then immediately wake up. So it can be a way of healing if they don't have a move like Soft Boiled or Recover. Yeah, so I was hoping to run an Alakazam with Calm Mind, Psychic, and probably Thunder Punch and Ice Punch, but sadly that might have to be for another playthrough at some point. I am going to... Well, I suppose I'm going to catch everything that I can on this route. Will be my next job. So one last thing actually before we catch Pokemon, I was just running back to heal and this guy captures me. So he gives us a Great Ball, which is handy. And then he takes us all the way up to the President's office. So I'd completely forgotten about this bit, but it makes sense, and he is the reason that we need to go to Slateport, I believe. So yeah, we can now follow this guy. And speak to Mr. Stone, the President of the Devon Corporation. I just got word about you. You saved our staff not just once, but twice. I have a favour to ask of an amazing person like you. I understand that you're delivering a package to Slateport's shipyard. Well, on the way, could you stop off in Dewford Town? I was hoping that you'd deliver a letter to Stephen in Dewford. Now, you should know that I'm a great president. I mean, fine. So I'd never be so cheap as to ask a favour for nothing in return. That's why I want you to have this. So we get the Pokénav. The Pokénav is basically just an annoyance. But it is used for, it has the map of the Hoenn region, and it also allows you to do rematches, and he also heals up your Pokemon, so I do not need to go back to the Pokemon Center, which is good. And this is the inside of the Devoncourt building, so we will be carrying out their courier service for them, but in here you can talk to some of these scientists. Okay, I thought he was about to explain all of the features in detail, which would be quite annoying, but and pretty much all of these talk about really interesting ideas that they've had, and none of them are going very well, apart from this one, who can resurrect fossils for you. So if we are lucky enough to get a hold of a fossil later in the game, we will be able to do that. And finally, this guy says we're always welcome here, which is very nice. This guy says it sounds like they've recovered the ripped off Devon goods. Yep, we, sure. And yeah, so that is the Devoncourt building. We get chased out by this guy, who has developed a phone system, the Match Call. Using the Match Call feature, you can chat with people who have been registered in your Pokénav, And so now we get told to give the president a call because we have his number, which I guess is quite cool, even if he is using a 10-year-old as a courier service. So yeah, there's our first registered phone call. And now we can finally get onto the job of catching all the Pokemon on Route 116. Okay, so the first encounter was a Nincada. So this is the last Pokemon we needed apart from Skitty, which is 2%. So I am going to try and weaken it. I think it's pure bug type, so it might not be too sensible to use Peck, but we should be able to. And Leech Life is annoying because it's going to be healing up at the same time, but it's not doing too much damage. I think we should be able to. It should be able to live one Peck, if not. Yeah, easily. Even though it's pure bug type, it's more bulky than some of the other Pokemon on this route, such as Whismur and Abra. And it does go for Harden. I'm still not going to risk. Again, I could go for the Great Ball, but I think we'll just use Pokeball. It should be something like 78% to stay in, if I know what I'm talking about, which I probably don't, so it may just be a 50-50 or something. Let's hope this stays in though. And there we go, there's Nincada. And so now the real grind begins because I have a 2% to hunt down. Okay, so this took probably longer than it should have. This is a 1 in 50 and I have seen over, well, I reckon around 120 Pokemon. I have healed up at the Pokemon Center 3 times with Ralts, but what that does mean is that Ralts is now level 18 and it has also learned the move Teleport. So I do no longer need to keep keep Abra in the party, because I can use Ralts' Teleport, which is pretty useful for this point in the game. It's obviously not going to survive the moveset for the whole game, but we can use it at some point, I'm sure. We're just going to Peck. I think Skitty has Cute Charm guaranteed to stay in, but hopefully Pokeball does the job, and it does, so that's fantastic. We are now done with Route 116, at least until later on in the run once we have Rock Smash. And we can take on the final fight of the episode, which is going to be our rival fight. Okay, so here we are with the final part of this episode today, and it is this optional rival fight. So you don't actually have to do this, you can completely walk past her. Oh, I thought you could. Maybe not. So she does register in your Pokénav. I thought you could just completely skip that, but I never do. He's on his way home to Cottage by the Sea, and she offers you a battle. Yeah, you can turn this down. I'm not going to. I'm going to say yes. This is quite an interesting fight in that it's actually harder if you are a male character than if you're female. So if you're a boy, she has a Torkoal, and Torkoal's pretty scary. It's a final form evolution. I mean, it doesn't evolve, but it's, pretty high base stats, all things considered. Look how well it takes that confusion from. I know Ralts is bad, but it is. I am 5 levels higher, and it does also have Curse, which is also very scary. But we do get a crit, so that should be fine. This can get out of control fairly quickly though. If you are a female character, she just has a Slugma, which Slugma is pretty bad. Slugmas are much more similar kind of Pokemon at this stage of the game than you'd expect, because the Pokemon that she has is the same type as your starter. So because we used Torchic, she had a Fire type. If you are a Trico, she has if you pick Trico, the Grass type, she has a Lotad, and that's true whether you're male or female. And if you pick Mudkip, the Water type, let's just double team. This is probably a waste of time actually. No, let's just If it somehow survives 2, then it will kill us, but that's fine. And if you pick Mudkip, she has a Wingull, so Slugma kind of fits with Wingull and Lotad a lot more than it fits with Torkoal. But I guess it's just some sort of oversight rather than a deliberate sexist ploy, but you never know. And we win that fairly easily. So we keep getting told about Mr. Briny, so we are now going to go and find him. But there are some more items for us to get. So firstly, if we talk to this person... Oh, I thought she gave us a berry daily. Maybe it's somewhere else. But yeah, so there's this this item here. And we're just going to clean up these items, and then it will be the end of the episode. And we get an X accuracy from behind this cut tree here. Now, that's the only cut tree on this route. There are a couple more in Petalburg Woods, so there's one here. And there's a few items. There's an item that's quite useful if you pick the grass-type starter, or if you're using a Lotad or something. There's also some tiny mushrooms, but you can, I believe this girl here gives you... the Miracle Seed, yeah. So Miracle Seed gives you a 20% boost to grass-type moves, so might come in handy later on. I had kind of planned out my team, but I can't remember what it is now, so we'll wait and see whether that has any purpose later on. And this is basically a short, well, long cut down to the other end of Petalburg Woods. There are a couple more hidden items, so one tiny mushroom, and then finally we have the X attack. So I believe that's all of the items available in this kind of side route, and as you can see, that is, if we jump over here, we are now back at the start of Petalburg Woods. So that's going to be the end of the episode. Thank you very much for watching. Here is what our Pokédex looked like at the start of the episode, and hopefully it should now transition into what it looks like now. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again soon.